If you are in the market for a wide format printer to use with sublimation and you have your eyes on the Epson Workforce 7820, this video might be helpful to you. Let's get started. Hello everyone and welcome to Crafting with Delonda. It's me again, Delonda, and thank you so much for joining me today. I am going to tell you what I like and what I don't like about this Epson Workforce 7820 wide format printer. At the end of this video, if you find it helpful, please consider liking the video, subscribing to my channel, and turning on the bell for notifications because I do upload new content every single week. And without further ado, let's talk about it. The first question you might be asking is, why did you purchase that printer? And to be honest, I was very green, very naive. I had just gotten started with my sublimation journey. I had an Epson EcoTank 2760 that I had converted already, which means that I just put the sublimation ink in it instead of the ink that came with the printer. And I love that printer. I love the way the images were coming out. I love the way my projects were coming out. I was just so happy about the fact that the ink was not going out really fast, and I wanted to have the option or the ability to print on a wide format printer. And because I love that Epson, I thought I would also love this Epson. Okay, so that's my why. Let's talk about what I love about this printer, or what I like about it. What do I like about this printer, or what did I like about this printer? At the time that I purchased it back in 2021, I liked the price. This printer, I walked out of the door only paying $265 for this from Best Buy right here in Houston, Texas. I was excited about that. $265 for an Epson printer that I could use with sublimation ink that would give me wide format prints. I was over the moon. And you might be asking, well, why would you want to do wide format prints? Well, because with my Epson EcoTank 2760, I was so used to printing on the standard 8.5 by 11 sheets, and I knew with this printer I would be able to go all the way up to 13 by 19, and I was ecstatic about that. I was very excited about the possibilities. So that's what I liked about it at that time. The ability to print wide format images, and I liked the price. Let's move on and talk about what I don't like. Now in hindsight, and hindsight is always 2020, I'm going to move this table up so you can get a better view of this printer, just so you can see how massive it is. It is really big, and hopefully the glare from behind the camera doesn't interfere with your ability to see it. But let me move it over to see how big it is. It's huge. I'm standing up. This printer is heavy, and not that that's a deal breaker, because it wasn't a deal breaker. Let me move the table back down. Everything that's required to use this printer. So if I open it up and show you, and the printer is not plugged up, so I might not be able to give you a good enough view. You will need cartridges, and the cartridges need chips. So not only do you need sublimation ink, but because of the way these cartridges are made, you have to have syringes in order to put the ink in the cartridge. Let me change my view so you can see it a little, or I can bring a cartridge so you can see it a little bit better. Let's look at what the inside of this printer looks like. Now, I won't be able to take the cartridges out because the printer is not plugged in, and because it's not plugged in, the carriage won't move. But I'm going to show you what the original cartridges look like and what the process looks like for replacing the cartridge. So this cartridge right here is one of the originals that came with the printer. See, it's a true Epson cartridge. This is the one for cyan, and it looks just like this. On the original cartridges, on all of the originals, and here's like another one, like I have all of them, I just keep them in a box. On the original cartridges, they come with a chip. The chip looks like a small square gold piece. What you have to do is remove the chip from the original cartridge and place it on a replacement cartridge. Now, the replacement cartridges that I purchased, these 4 that are in here already, I got them from eBay after doing some research. And I had to use the sublimation ink with syringes in order to get the ink inside of those cartridges. Okay. So the ink goes in, I don't even remember where it goes in. I think it goes in at this top part right here. But you can go back and look at my, conversion video to see the whole process, because I did do a video on how I converted this printer. You have to use the ink with the syringes and gloves in order to get it put in. Make sure that the chip is on the cartridge securely, that is flat and that is fit on there nicely. Otherwise, the computer will not recognize and the printer will not recognize that the cartridges are installed. At the time that I purchased this printer, it was my understanding that these cartridges did not come with chip resetters. And so once the printer started to recognize that the cartridges were low or that the ink was empty, I would have to purchase a new cartridge and a new original ink cartridge to remove the chip again. And I just did not want to invest more time and more money into this printer. I think I used this printer approximately 5 times. At one point, I received a warning or a notice on the screen that the ink was low, and I was shocked. So after using it for only 5 times, I realized that the ink was running low, and I think it was just like on one cartridge. It scared me, and then I just never used the printer again. Okay, so let me just go back around the table and give you my advice if you are in the market for a wide format printer. So here's my advice based on everything I've learned in the last 2 years on my sublimation journey. And just know that everything I'm sharing with you is just based on my experience, and it might be different for you or for someone else. Number one, my first piece of advice is to do your own research. Sometimes saving $1 or $2 will also add a headache or two. And so you just have to ask yourself, do I want to save money and add a headache? And if your answer is no, then that might not be the right route to take. When I purchased this printer, I purchased it because I thought I was saving some money and I was going to be able to print big images. And while I did in the beginning, I actually didn't, because I spent $265 that I could have used towards a bigger, a regular sublimation printer, an actual true sublimation printer, instead of wasting the money on this. Then I'm not using it anymore. I have no intentions on using this printer anymore. And before you ask, can you have the printer? There is no way for me to give this printer to you. I will not be shipping it out and you can't come pick it up. Like, the answer to that is no. So there's that. All right. So the next thing, my next piece of advice is you might just consider getting a true sublimation printer. And you might be wondering, how can I give you that advice if I don't own a true sublimation printer? The reason why I can give you that advice is because I've had experience with printers that are not created for sublimation. And I know that having a printer that is converted is work, right? Because with my Epson EcoTank 15,000, I had to purchase sublimation ink and take a risk with adding that ink to a printer that is not intended to be used for sublimation. I do not work for Epson. They do not suggest that you convert their printers. They actually don't like it when you do that. So just know you're taking a risk. If you are not ready to take that risk and you don't have, the extra money sitting around to just take a risk like that, it is probably not a bad idea to get a true sublimation printer that doesn't require any type of conversion or risks, because it was created to be used for sublimation. If you are ready to take on that risk and you have an additional $700, because that's how much I paid for my Epson EcoTank 15,000. I paid $700 for that printer. I haven't had any problems with it. I don't have any regrets about it. I actually love that printer. I don't use it every day. I don't turn it on every day. I haven't had a problem with the printer being clogged. So I can't really advise you about that. If you are ready to take a risk like that, you are doing it with, that knowledge that you might have some problems with it, but that's going to be a decision for you to make on your own. Hopefully you found this information helpful. I do have 2 videos on this printer in my list of tutorials. I will make sure they are both linked below this video. One of the videos is unboxing this printer and the other one is converting it. There is a channel that will probably give you more information about the chip resetters and other information that you might find helpful about the workforce printers. There is a channel by the name of Honestly Speaking. I will leave the official name below the video because I'm pretty sure I mispronounced it, but that's the way I think it's pronounced. And I know that she has a lot of information. I haven't ever made a purchase from her, so I'm not advising you to do that, but I'm just saying that I think she has more information about workforce printers, and she might be able to help you if you already have this printer or if you are considering purchasing this printer, okay? So hopefully you found this information helpful. If you have, please consider liking the video, subscribing to my channel, and turning on the bell for notifications, because I do upload new content every single week. Thank you so much for joining me today, and thanks for watching. Bye.